What are some family-related issues that you are struggling with? Am I unreasonable for hiding the truth from my son? I am really my adoptive son's half-sister, and I am hiding this from my son. My parents were both born in 1974, and I was born in 1992. As you can guess, they were both around 18 when I was born. My mom refused an abortion, but was adamant she would have nothing to do with me, so she bailed literally the day I was born. As soon as she knew I was okay, she managed to get herself discharged, and vanished, and I guess relinquishing her parental rights. My dad was shocked as he was only 17 at the time, but he loved from the start, and he managed to give me an awesome childhood. I didn't have anything to do with my mom, to be honest. She would come and go every few years, getting my hopes up to see her, and bailing when crap got real. I also later learned she was addicted to drugs, and begged my dad for money, so my image of her was not a good one. She got clean when I was about 22, and I decided to give her a chance. Things were great for a while, but I realized she was treating me more as a friend than a daughter, and then I got really bad with my mental health, and she bailed again. I decided that was my last straw, and cut her off. All was fine until she turned up in early 2015, heavily pregnant. I was shocked because, not being rude, she was approaching 41, and she didn't seem to have her life together, and that I didn't think she was motherly at all. She confirmed that the pregnancy was a mistake, and was considering giving him up. I was already married, and despite only being 23, I offered to adopt the baby as he was family anyway. My mom was fine with this. She gave birth, and my husband and I officially adopted him as our son. My mom bailed once again, and we never saw her. My mom has recently come into the picture, and she seems to be a changed woman. She talked to me through my dad, and he confirmed she fell back on drugs, but has gone to rehab, is in a stable job now, and a good relationship. I said that was great to hear, but why does this involve me? I learned that she wants my son and I to be in her life, as she misses her kids. I wasn't impressed, but I agreed to meet her myself to see what she had to say. She seemed genuinely remorseful, and acknowledged her mistakes. She then asked me how I was doing as an older sister, and I corrected her by saying I'm a mom. She got really angry, and said I had no right to make my son think I was his mom, and my husband is his dad. I reminded her that she relinquished her rights to both me and him, and she has no right to tell me how to parent. I also said he knows me, and my husband as his parents, my dad as his grandpa, and that if I've mentioned her briefly, he thinks she is his grandma. She called me a swine, and has called me one repeatedly. My husband and my dad think my mom is crazy, but I wonder if maybe I should tell my son the truth. I don't know. He's my son to me. I should add I haven't talked to my mom since this, and blocked her after her swine comments. I feel I need to make it very clear, I will tell him the truth one day. I just didn't think it would be now because he's only 5. Should I tell my son I am really his sister? I am my son's half-sister. Should I not have told my son, under age 10, the truth about his mother? When I was younger, I had a casual sexual relationship with a woman, Beth. I met at a restaurant. We had sex more than 5 times, but less than 10 times. I texted Beth on a Friday night, which is when we normally hooked up, asking if she wanted to meet up, and she told me to lose her number. I did, and later found out she was pregnant. I contacted her again to see if the child was mine. She told me it wasn't, and that she would be getting an abortion anyway, and once again told me I needed to lose her number. I moved on. One day I got a message from Beth's mother. She accused me of abandoning her daughter and my son. I told her I had no clue what she was talking about. She informed me that she had been taking care of Beth's son since he was 4 months old because Beth had a drug issue. At this point he was 1.5 years old, and she, Grandma, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. She said she couldn't do it alone anymore. I ended up getting a DNA test, and found out I was the dad. His grandmother passed away shortly after I took custody. He's 7 now, 8 in September, and has been asking about his mom a lot lately. I have always told him that his mom loved him, but wasn't able to take care of him. He has accepted that answer until recently, and wanted more answers. I decided to be honest. He asked why he had to live with his grandmother before living with me. I told him, "Your mom and I weren't talking when she was pregnant with you. I didn't know she had you until your grandmother told me. After that I did everything I could to get you." He asked if he would ever be able to see his mom again. I said, "I don't know. I don't even know where she is. She has a sickness called addiction. Sometimes when people are sick like that they make decisions that no one understands. That doesn't mean she doesn't love you though." He cried a little, and said he hopes his mom gets better. I was gutted, and called my mom. She said I shared way too much, and hurt him. She said I should have shared much less, and stuck with the "she couldn't take care of you" line even though he was asking for more. Also, thanks for all feedback I have received so far. All perspectives are read and considered. This happened yesterday, and he seemed okay today. He didn't say anything about his mother and I am not going to push it. I have always let him lead these conversations. I think I am going to look into therapy and support groups for children of parents battling addiction. I will also be looking into resources for myself to help me navigate all of these new situations as they arise. I have no experience with kids other than my own, so I may be overestimating my son's ability to understand things, and maybe someone can help me work on that. I'm honestly not even sure if his mom is alive. Last I heard she was, but that was a while ago. We have a lot to navigate and I could use some help from a professional, so I will be looking into that. Seriously, thanks for all of your suggestions, stories, and comments. It means a lot. Should I go no contact with my child's father's family? I am a mother to very young twin sons. My ex and I were both excited when we found out, but shortly after he began expressing doubts, and eventually said he didn't want to be a father, and he left when in the middle of my pregnancy. Shortly after, his parents rang me saying they had no idea what had happened until now. They didn't even know I was pregnant, and they wanted to be involved in their grandchildren's life. I spoke to my ex about them wanting to be involved, and he said he wasn't involved anymore, so it wasn't his choice. I talked to his parents, and agreed to them being involved so long as they left my ex out of it, and basically informed them, in nicer language than this, that I am the mother, this is my child, and I would be determining the amount of contact they had, and wouldn't hesitate to reduce or cut off contact if they pulled any crap. They said that's fair. For the most part, they've generally been respectful. However, when my sons were around 6 months old, I started seeing someone. This didn't go over too well with the grandparents, who tried to get me to end the relationship under concerns for the boys. Then they invited me over to talk it out, and my ex was there. He didn't know I'd be there with the boys, and left immediately. Later he told me that they'd been trying to set us up. I told them this wasn't okay, and ended up going very low contact with them for nearly 6 months. When the boys turned a year old, they apologized, and we've had regular contact since then. I'm now engaged to my partner. We've been together just over 2 years, and he proposed on our 2-year anniversary. We contacted the people we wanted to know first recently, and then told everyone else via social media. The everyone else included my ex's parents, who I am linked to on Facebook. This has prompted more questioning of my relationship from my ex's parents, who worry he won't be a good stepdad, and that his daughter, who is 2 years older than my sons, won't mesh with her stepbrothers, despite the kids getting along fine. They also informed me that they didn't approve of my choice in stepfather for my sons, and have begged me to reconsider my engagement. I reminded them of what I told them years ago, about how I dictate the contact they have with my sons, and that I didn't appreciate how they were talking about my future husband, and they called me a swine for holding that over their heads. I am seriously considering cutting contact. I've checked, and grandparents' rights don't apply as the father isn't on the birth certificates, so they couldn't force me to grant them custody or visitation. Legally, I'm in the clear. Morally, however, I'm unsure. I asked my partner, who said it was up to me, but he'd made an effort to keep in touch with his ex's family after she gave up custody. My mother baptized my less than a year-old son, and kept it a secret for almost a year. Now my boyfriend wants to keep her out of our lives. My parents are both Eastern Orthodox Christians, and believe that if a baby dies before baptism it goes to limbo, and not heaven. My boyfriend, father of my son, is a Protestant and I am an agnostic. We had an agreement that we wouldn't force any religion on our son, allowing him to choose later in his life. When I told my parents, my mother just laughed it off, and said that she would just secretly christen my son like it was done in the Soviet era. I believed she was joking because she's not a hardcore Christian, and she has always respected my decisions. Well, I was completely wrong. My mother usually visits us once a year in the springtime, and helps around the house because both my boyfriend and I work long hours. On Christmas, I found out that she had taken him to a church last March, and baptized him. With a priest, and everything. But the worst part is that the christening certificate was given to me, and my boyfriend as a Christmas present. My dad said, it was time we all shared this joy, and that we can now finally be relieved that God is watching over our son. This was the first time my boyfriend got visibly upset. But we couldn't do or say anything because half the family was there, and we didn't have a place to go because our home is in a different country. Yesterday, we returned home, and my boyfriend can't get over it. I also feel betrayed that my own mother would so blatantly ignore my decision. He has been very adamant about keeping her out of our house, and not visiting my parents anymore. He also says it's an insult to our parenting. They're indirectly stating that we are bad parents because we aren't religious. I don't really know what to do. I haven't spoken to her, yet, since I am very angry, and hurt and I don't want to say something I'll regret. Any thoughts would be very appreciated. Thank you. Also, just to clear some things up. 1. Eastern Orthodox don't sprinkle a little water on children like Catholics do. It's a pretty distressing ritual. They fully submerge them 3 times under cold water, naked. Most children cry, and can inhale water. There are videos on YouTube that show the process. 2. My son was baptized at 7 months old. Some people told me the math didn't check out. Again, it's not about the baptism. It's about my mother ignoring my and my BF's wishes. She should have let me parent the way I have decided to. He's my son, not hers. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.